Good evening, y'all. This is David, the Georgia photographer, and today is another late night live stream. All right, I'm coming to you live from Trenton, Georgia, and what we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about several subjects that I have been writing down and keeping up with. One of which, not the least of which, is the new, basically Nikon Z6 III announcement. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. I do have a monitor under the camera so I can actually see the chat. Well, let me just modify this ever so slightly. The chat, there we go. Let me just pull it over this way. Greg caught me on stream. I see it now. Hassan's in the house. Hey, Bass Angler, there you are. Awesome. Greg caught me streaming as I started. You were on YouTube when it started up and you got the notification. That's awesome. Okay. I've got not really housekeeping. I don't really have any housekeeping stuff. What I do have is I do have one thing I'm going to mention. It's over there in that cabinet though, and I probably ain't going to get up to get it. I have a adapter that is a Nikon F mount to excuse me. I have a Nikon F mount to Leica L mount adapter that's made in Germany. Let me just get it. All right, let's see. Well, I said I would. I've stuck it over here in this cabinet somewhere. There it is. Yeah. Okay, I'm back. All right, it's a Novaflex. This thing is apparently hen's teeth. Okay, I have gotten, I don't know how many comments on the video where I talk about this adapter, where people want to know where they can get one. Apparently, Novaflex ceased production on them not long after I bought this. So it's brand new essentially. I've used it. I made one video with it and I got it out and shot the clips photos with this on the SL2. That's how I mounted the 500 face Fresnel to the SL2. And honestly, I'm not a fan. So this is going to go on eBay unless somebody in the chat messages me at some point, either in chat, but I prefer you email me unless you know me personally and you're interested, and you can contact me any way that we normally do communicate. But yeah, this is going to go away. I'm going to use the money from this to fund my ZF, Nikon ZF purchase. This is one of the items that I'm going to clearance for that. I've hung on to it thinking that I could use, because what it does is it gives you electrical connection for the aperture and the focus on E-series modern lenses. The old E-series glass from the 80s is all manual. That don't count. The new E-series electronic lenses, they have an electronic aperture. This controls it. And it gives you aperture control and it gives you autofocus. Albeit not ideally, but it does work. So you can get decent photos with it. If you have one of the newer, smaller E-series lenses, I think the 24-70 is an E, before they stopped making the F-mount stuff, because this is F-mount, then you could put it on it. There was only a handful of the E-series lenses anyway. But yeah, I'm going to put this on eBay unless somebody is interested. But I wanted to just throw that out there as kind of the housekeeping thing. Now, jumping right into the Z6, we're going to get a sip of water here. I'm a little light on water tonight. I'm going to have to go easy on it. There's been a bunch of talk about the Z6 III. Let me check something here. Something just happened. Let me pull this across. Nope, that is not what I was looking for. I'm looking for this. Ah, it is? Okay. Thanks. I will fix it. Let's see here. I wonder why. It says it's right. We'll see if that helps. It's I had it set last week, and the video came out off of the stream, and the sync was way off. So now I don't know. I'm chasing my tail on this one. Okay, here we go. Let's see. But hey, Aaron's on the stream chat. Look at that. Looking for an external flash for the Z6 II. Okay. Waiting on the confirmation that the audio sync is better. I was just informed that it's not. So I backed it off some. Maybe it'll be closer now. We'll see. If it ain't, I'll back it off some more. I had it set pretty aggressively recently, so we'll see. But better. Okay. Well, we'll pull it down a little bit more then. How about we take it down to that? We'll just make them on the fly. I can make those adjustments pretty easily. Now, we got the next thing, well, was the Z6 III. I done got sidetracked here. The Z6 III is, audio seems good. Thank you. We're getting closer. I've took 150 milliseconds off of the sync adjustment. So apparently I went the wrong direction with my adjustment the other night. Let's see. Hassan's got a statement here. It says, Nikon is kind of going the opposite direction if the Z6 III is supposed to be larger than the 2. Everything else seems to be going smaller, but rumor is the Z6 III is supposed to be slightly smaller than the Z8. Aaron, side quests. Yeah, I constantly have side quests on my streams. Look at side quest. We'll get back to that Z6 III comment in a second. Here's a side quest for you. This is what is known as a common mode choke that I made, that I use on my POTA activations. If you don't notice anything unusual about it, this little connector here is called a BNC connector. This end's supposed to have one too. Notice it's not there. That's because it broke off, and I went to hook it up to the antenna. Look at that. This one's broken too. I don't think this one was fully broken off like this one was, but I think I just broke it. But yeah, I don't think this particular kind of coax is intended for what I was using it for. So I've got some new coax. I'm going to rewind this toroid. I'm going to experiment with the number of turns this time and see if it makes a huge difference in the upper bands. Because I had it with this many turns, it works really good on 80 meters. I think this thing was some kind of ludicrous, like 50 dB of attenuation at 80. It was some kind of crazy amount like that. But anyway, that's a side quest. Yeah, I can throw this away. The inductor core, the toroidal core is good, and I will use it. That's the reason it's here. And I've got the vector network analyzer so I can test it. So we're going to see how that goes. That's a different creature entirely. And if I can make it work, I will stream it tomorrow on a channel that I'm going to be starting and working with Aaron called Ham Radio Today. He may not be available for that because I may just spool that up and stream me reworking the core and testing it and looking at what the VNA says, just to do something with the channel and to practice streaming of all things. But that's one of the things I wanted to do. Okay, Z6 III, back to subject. Once again, the side quests and the rabbit holes. Let's see. Oh, look. I done got a link to a common mode choke. Yeah. I'm going to just fix this one and use it. The coax is right behind the camera, off camera there. I'll look at that though, and I'll read about it. But yeah, it looks like you can vary the number of turns, and it'll move the peak common mode rejection rate up and down the ham band. So I'm gonna play with it and see. Because apparently every different coax and core and all that jazz changes it here and there. But I'll read that in a little bit once we're done streaming. Thank you. I would like to see. Okay, we've had this conversation kind of off camera, you might say, over the past few days. And honestly, I'm looking forward to like a Z70. And basically it's a D7000, D7200, what have you, replacement. And get it, and in it have the Z9 focus system in it with a crop sensor. And then you could FTZ mount my 500 Fade Fresnel on that, and it'd be like 720 millimeter effective, because of the crop effect. So, but it would, at this point in the game, you're probably going to start seeing, I was joking with them saying they have a 30 megapixel sensor because I think Canon's already done that. And I know that Fuji has got like a 30 or 40 megapixel sensor in like the XT5. So high resolution crop sensor in an IBIS, with IBIS. And then the focus system out of the Z9, it would be the D500 replacement that Rodney's been hunting. It just would be there. And I think that would do the magic that everybody's looking for. Hi, David. 4:30 and checking YouTube because I couldn't sleep and suddenly being confronted with chokes. Oh, that's pretty good. Well, I am QSL cards. Let me get the light right on it. There you go. Whiskey Kilo 4 Delta Sierra. So if you make contact with me at a Poda Park, you get one of these if you ask. I did get a QSL in the mail just recently. Let me just show you this. This is cool. This QSL card, check that out. It's from Alpha Bravo Zero Bravo Mike, AB0BM. He's in Iowa. And I didn't remember working him when I saw the envelope, and I opened it up and saw his QSL. I was like, a lot of times if it's pretty recent, I can remember the call sign, and it's just because I don't do high volume. I'll normally 10, 20 calls at a time in a log, and they'll just kind of be fresh in your mind unless it's a fairly old contact. But then I noticed it's WK4DS-B. This is my propagation beacon. It's transmitting at 1 watt, and he heard it on June 3rd in Iowa, which is kind of close because it's on 10 meters. That's probably about the closest that my beacon has ever been heard, if I had to guess. I get a lot of reports from Europe and Costa Rica. There's a listening station, TI7W, down in Costa Rica, routinely picks up my beacon. And I get like the West Coast, they'll hear it a good bit. But yeah, this is the first QSL in recent times that I've got on my propagation beacon. He's either a shortwave listeners. A lot of times will do this. They want to get confirmation that I guess that they heard the beacon, and I'll send them a card. That's why it's here on the desk. I'm going to reply to his QSL request. And then here's something else that a lot of them will do. They want to ensure they get the card, so they'll send a self-addressed stamped envelope so you don't have to do the work. That's pretty nice. But I haven't gotten any QSLs until this one on my propagation beacon. That's, like I said, I used to get them from Europe. The Italians are real good about QSL and propagation beacons, but I haven't seen any European QSLs to date. Then again, I direct QSL. A lot of them guys go through what is called the Bureau, and it's a whole thing. Let's see. SideQuest. Not available. Shooting the Indie Tattoo Expo all weekend. Ooh, wow. Okay, then he ain't going to be on ham radio today tomorrow because I will be able to and he will not. Now, like I said, it's going to be a kind of a boring thing because I'm just going to stream me repairing this Balun and then checking it on the VNA as I add turns to see where the actual band works through. That's the plan with it. Let's see what we got here. Hassan says, this is David chasing squirrels. I want it. Oh, look, he dropped in the link to the channel. Thank you. Good point. I heard that all FM radio stations are going to be shut down in Europe. That's interesting. I never heard that. Yeah, why would they shut them down? That's kind of interesting. In 2030? Broadcast radio? Everybody loves it. I don't know. There's no reason to shut it down. That's kind of bizarre. I don't understand that. Now that I've wandered way down a rabbit hole of ham radio, we got, okay. I made a note that says adapters for Z mount and L mount. Z mount and L mount. Oh, I know what it's talking about because I made the note. Let's see here. If I stand up and I reach over everybody, no. Maybe in the camera bag. Don't see it out here anywhere. I have a bunch of. Yeah, here's one. Okay, this is a Leica R-mount lens, and well, lens cap fell off. Welcome to Leica. The people ask me pretty regularly, since I do so many lens reviews with vintage lenses on modern cameras, they ask me what kind of lens mount that is. And most of them are this brand here. It's Photasy. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus in on it here. If I get it up closer. Oh, I'm zooming the camera, not focusing. There we go. And I'm going to turn it. There you go. That's the brand I shoot with. On almost all of my simple adapters, when I do adapted lenses, it's this Photasy brand. This is Leica R to Leica L mount. See how they've logoed it? And it's got a nice machined finish. This is a chrome-plated brass ring for the mount, and the other side is just the aluminum, but it's anodized, so it's well made, and it'll work a long time. Look, I actually remembered to refocus. There we go. I'll pull the zoom back a little bit and get my head back in frame. But that's the kind that I use. I get them from Amazon. They're not very expensive. Maybe $20, sometimes $30, depending on how complicated the lens mount is. But these things, they always work really well for me. Once you figure out where the mounting scheme goes. Let's see, is this one got a red dot or something? There's a red dot. Found it. Okay, and there's the dot. Okay, they do it. They normally ID it. See, the lens has a red plastic bead on it. I don't know if y'all can see it like this. Yeah, you can see it. Well, there's a little tiny red dot on the mount too. You can see it right there. And that's the location so that you can drop it together and then lock it on. And then it'll mount to the camera as usual. These old R-mount lenses had these slip-on plastic lens caps. And over time, I don't know if you can see it or not, but they have these little ridges cast on the inside of the cap. I'm trying to hold it to where the light will hit it. And them ridges wear down with time. You know, this lens cap's probably almost 40 years old at this point, if it isn't 40 years old. You know, they've been making the R-mount cameras since the early 70s, so, you know, it's a thing. But, so don't judge the camera brand by that. I do like the fact that the older lenses had the built-in lens hood. But yeah, that's the mount, to get back on task. And they make these in basically every mount to every mount. So I've got some that are for Sony cameras from back in the day when I had that Sony A7 II, and I think it was an NEX for the, was it the E mount or whatever? You know, Sony had two mounts. They had like a crop sensor mount and a full frame, or they had, I don't remember, maybe it was the old Minolta mount, because I think they bought Minolta. I don't remember for sure, but they had two mounts going at once for a little while. Now I think they've kind of just phased one out, and now they're just using whatever the Sony's mount name is. I'm not sure what it is, just to tell you the truth. Let's see. Meanwhile, back in Z6 III land, most everyone streams now without commercials. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. And chased a squirrel until he saw a Leica. But when he caught the Leica, he didn't understand what it was. Y'all got this whole storyline going. We're going to burn in a special place and oh. Okay. Let's see here. Let me fix this right quick. This will be the fastest way to sort it out. Nope. Oh, really? Come on. I ain't gonna tell you what I just did. How about I just do that? There we go. Yeah. Now, let's just do this. Let's see. No. Why is it? Okay, I'm glad I checked that. It's picking up. Oh, that's Inception. We don't want that one. There's the one I want. Okay. Adding another monitor to the computer has completely blown this computer's mind. All right. We'll just throw this up on screen, and we can all look at this together. Let's see here. Okay. What you have here is, here's the latest regarding the Nikon Z6 III announcement. Two different dates are still floating around. On or around June 11th. Well, just to be perfectly honest, since it's June 13th, that's not the thing. There could be a bunch of discrepancies. What's this? There's problems going on in China. Several Chinese dealers were also invited to product testing by Nikon on June 18th in Shanghai. Some of them even listed the details of the event on their social media. Oh, that's pretty good. In addition to the Shanghai event, Beijing and Shenzhen will also have the same event in late June and early July. This could be a hint at the upcoming Z6 III because Nikon did the exact same thing last year with the Z8 launch and the 2023 Super Creative Camp on May 27th. Huh. Let's just do this and see what happens. Oh, there's a teaser video. How many of y'all have watched the teaser video? Because I haven't. I didn't know it was there until just now. But the build specs on this camera are phenomenal. The camera's going to do wonderful things. And what happened to my little window? Oh, it's there. Okay. I'm looking at the web page up there. Then down on this screen is OBS, and I have it in what they call studio mode. So there's a video of me, what we call a camera, and then there's the actual screen of that with a camera superimposed in the corner, which is what y'all are seeing right now. And that's behind the boom mic. And I could see me in the big A-cam image, and I could see that web page, and not realizing that I'm visible in the lower corner of the picture-in-picture cam thing I put together. There's one thing about it. It's never a dull moment on the late night live stream. Oh. Phil Monroe. How you doing tonight, Phil? Thank you for stopping in. We went on our own side quest, bro. Speaking of me and Aaron, Aaron done me a solid and hooked me up with my newest business cards. I pay for them, but he does all of the graphic work for me. He helps me out with that because he's real good with Photoshop, and I am like super terrible at it. So we've got photos from my catalog, and get the light. There we go. There's that one, and self-portrait, light trails. I think this is the pygmy kingfisher of some kind. It's a pygmy. It's a little miniature kingfisher. This is the Chattanooga Bank Building, street photography. The Walnut Street Bridge, of course. That's like one of the most iconic scenes. And then somehow I included this picture, not really thinking about it. This is Sedona, Arizona. Light trail. It looks a lot better on the big screen. There's not a lot going on in a little business card shape. And then it starts to repeat. But yeah, I got fresh cards. Updated the data on the other side with like the new email address. I think it still had the old one on the old cards. But finally got fresh cards. It's been a long time. We've run on them other cards for years. But yeah. Let's see here. He gets them from a place called, oh look, Moo. They do real good work. The color on them and the card, everything about it's really nice. I really like them. But yeah, so have fresh cards. If you see me in person, you can get one. I don't mail these out. Although I could, I just choose not to. But yeah, let's see what's happening here. Peter says, Z6 III is way too late. I already have a FM3 since some years. Then FM3 is like, I'm 40 years old, isn't it? But it will be nice to get basically a mid-range Z-mount camera with the focus system out of the Top Dog machines, or maybe a slightly abridged version. Probably will have the processor out of the Z8, if I had to guess. And what that'll give them is the fact that you're going to have the focus speed. You're going to have the focus speed and the right speed to the card. You're going to have the frame rate, all of that data, since it's only a 24 megapixel sensor, will be able to flow through into the cards so much faster. And it'll probably be UHS-2 cards. At least that's what I would expect. At this point in the game, it seems kind of silly for them to design cards that use UHS-1 technology. You know, if you get a cheaper camera, I can see a UHS-1 card, but for anything that is even remotely close to premium, you're going to want UHS-2 card support. That write speed is incredible on those cards. I can even see it with my little simple, I have a Kingston brand card reader that I USB plug. It's USB 3.1, I think. And I plug it into a port on the back of the computer that's USB 3, whichever version. And it'll actually unload those UHS-2 cards at almost 300 megabits per second. It's incredible how fast it will transfer data from the SL2 memory cards. It just smoking fast. You know. Phil Thatch is in the house. How you doing, Phil? Congratulations again. Phil just recently was at a wedding for his daughter and new son-in-law. So congratulations, Phil. And like I said, I saw a picture of him in his suit as he was walking Casey down the aisle, and the color looked great. Like I said, I wouldn't have picked it, and it was only not because I didn't like it, but because I'm just not somebody who picks like a bluish kind of color. But the suit looked good. Dude, you rocked it. And of course, Casey was a beautiful bride. I seen, that whoever took the photos, I guess it's wedding photographer photos, because it was a beautiful image. Well done, Phil. Yeah, Phil the bird whisperer Thatch. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. FM3 was from 2001 to 2006. Interesting. Had no idea. I thought it was a lot older than that, just to tell you the truth. Oh, and to answer Phil's question, it's a ZF is where I'm headed. I love the whole aesthetic of the ZF, and I'm saving up for that. And I was telling them earlier tonight that I'm going to sell some of my widgets, like this NovaFlex lens adapter that I really don't use. It does give me functionality with the 500 phase Fresnel on the SL2, but let's be realistic. This is for sale. Like I said, it's made out of hen's teeth. There's very, very few of these floating around out there. So if you know anybody looking for one of these, because they do work, and it does give you usable focus and aperture control on those lenses, because they're electronic aperture, and you can't control it without a Nikon Z-mount camera or a Nikon DSLR made after a certain date that'll communicate with the E-series lenses, or this on a Panasonic, essentially, camera. Randall Brander's in the house. Randall has been building computers. I've been looking at his channel a little bit. He's been doing a lot of benchmark testing and stuff. And occasionally he'll throw down a video about a lens or something. I think he had a Zeiss lens video up the other day I saw. But yeah, if you haven't seen Randall's videos, his name is in the chat. You can just go over and just search his name and it'll come up. But yeah, he's got some pretty interesting videos about benchmarking Windows computers. Been using the DF since some years. Really like the buttons and manual operation. Yeah, I thought about a DF for a little while. When I got the D810, somebody told me about the DF not long after getting the D810, and I looked at it, and it was a beautiful camera. That was a really nice camera. You want this adapter, Randall? Seriously? If you do, email me, and we'll trade information, and we'll go from there. Yeah, because I'm going to liquidate it to buy the ZF. That's the goal. I'm just going to put this money towards my savings fund that I've been saving up to get the ZF with. But yeah, if you're interested in it, it's yours. Having the chat right here is a lot more convenient than way up there. I'm walking from a table that's up against the wall, so the camera is mounted as far back as I can get it, and I can't get it because of the way the camera's put together. I have a boom clamped to the edge of the table, and then this boom for the mic is clamped on it. That way I can swing it in and out of the way, see? And it moves the camera a little bit, but for the most part, this will stay static. I can adjust it. It's on a little ball head, but this can't really go back any further or over. So there's a monitor sitting right here, and then there's another monitor up here, and that's what I've got linked to the web for the videos. And then I've added a 15-inch monitor down here so that I can pull the chat to it, so I can see that without having to read over here the whole time and then look at the camera. Now I can just glance down and see it. The DF specs are a bit like the D4. Nikon D4S. Woo, yeah. If the D4S, which it probably will communicate with the E series lenses, the newer electronic aperture f-mount lenses, then this will work. But this fits L-mount cameras. This doesn't fit Nikon cameras. It's Leica L-mount or Sigma L-mount or Panasonic L-mount. L-mount alliance on the camera side and F-mount on the lens side. That's what this adapter does. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that before, because I didn't want to mislead you. The DF specs are a bit like the D4. That's the way the ZF is. The ZF has got the XSpeed 7 processor, makes it a rocket ship. If they put that XSpeed 7 processor in the Z6 III, then it's going to be a big hit. Well, it and the ZF will basically be the same camera then, if I had to guess. Just one will be modern ergonomics and one will be retro ergonomics. And that'll be the difference in them. If I had to guess, they'll probably be internally identical. That's what I'm expecting. Coming your way. Okay. Yeah, we'll talk over email. Let's see. All right. But yeah, I'm excited to see what it does when it hits the market. I've seen the Z8 in practice because Aaron has the Z8 and it's nice. That camera is incredibly nice. I really thought I would want a Z9 more, and I think I kind of teeny weeny bit still do, because we got a guy in here that jumps in occasionally. His name is Ray, and he has one, and that thing is the bomb. That camera, it's like it's almost like cheating. He pretty much never misses focus. The pictures, it's almost like it just takes its pictures itself that are beautiful. Going to try and grab a bit more sleep. Nice to meet you, David, and the others. Take care. Good night, Peter. Thank you for coming to the stream. And thank you for logging in. But yeah. Let's see. Got that. That. Oh, yeah. Okay. Z9 is too big. Z8 is perfect. I don't know. I got a pretty big hand. The Z9 is pretty nice. I've handled Rays, and since it is a Z-mount camera, they shrunk it a little bit. So, like if you laid it next to like a D4 or a D5, or you could see it's physically a little smaller because they don't have to have the mirror box and the side focus sensor and the pentaprism. None of that's there. The shutter mechanism's not there. So the camera is physically smaller. Even though it's a pro body, with integrated vertical grip, it's not obtrusive. It's actually not bad. I like it. It handles really well. Ray has two Z9s. I didn't know he got a second one. I thought he still had that other Z6 too. Ah, wow. David likes battery grip cameras. Yes, I do. There is absolutely truth in that. I liked my D810 with the battery grip, and that Z9 is nice. Like I said before, if I hadn't have got the SL2, I was probably going to get a Z9. And who knows, I may still end up with one before it's over with. Wouldn't surprise me. I'm probably not going to get rid of this Z50, only because it makes a great video camera. It does do really well for video, so I'm probably not going to get rid of it, mainly just for that. I mean, just for this one job alone, it works beautifully just for this. So it's got me to the point where I'm not gonna part with it. I like it too well. Let me see. Did the announcement happen on the 11th? Because it doesn't look like it did on Nikon Rumors, because that's the site I had pulled up. Well, I still have pulled up. I didn't realize I haven't transitioned back. There we go. This whole time I've had Nikon rumors on my webpage the whole time. I had no idea. You guys got to tell me these things. It's like you let me go on, waffle on for 5 minutes with the focus off, and Ray bought a used one from Murphy. Huh, okay. How are you powering your Z50 for streams? I have a battery adapter that's a wall power cord. It's got a little voltage power supply block, plugs into the 120 volts and turns it into the battery voltage, and then it's got like a false battery that snaps into the pocket where the battery goes, and it just runs on wall power, so the battery never goes dead unless the power goes off. And then, you know, it's going to do it anyway. But that's how I've been powering it. And I've got it, was it micro HDMI out of this into a capture card, and then that's fed into the computer. Of course, the audio is plugged in, and this is a USB microphone, so hence the whole sync issues from earlier. I'm not popping it through the Z50, although I thought about doing that at one point. I'd have to get a different mic because this one's not designed to do that. This one's USB only, from what I can tell. Randall says, I have dummy batteries on all of my cameras. I need one of those power false battery thingies. Yep, Amazon. Just look it up on Amazon. I'm pretty sure that's where I bought it. I got one for my D810, and I still have that one. So if anybody was wanting to, like, set up a D810, possibly even a D800, any of those cameras from that series, you know, the D500, the D850, probably the D600s and 700s if they do video. I don't know that they do. They probably do. All of them can be powered from that thing because it's just a fake ENEL15 battery with a cord and a little power brick. It's not complicated. Randall Brander says that it's going to drop on the 17th. So here, today being the 13th, tomorrow's the 14th, 15th, 16th. Monday, next Monday, we should be able to see something. Let me see here. All right, here's the... I'm going to come out of camera here for a second and grab something, because it's a nice visual aid. Okay. There was a conversation not long ago amongst some friends on one of the chat rooms that I'm in about a lens very similar to this one, but a lot more modern. This is the Nikon 25 to 50 millimeter, and I'm pretty sure it's f4 constant aperture. Yeah, 25 to 50 f4. This is all manual. You know, you have the focus, you have the zoom, and then you have the aperture. I don't know if you saw that. Focus, zoom, and then aperture's down here at the bottom. All right. This lens is okay. It takes pretty decent photos. It's not great, but it's not bad either. Of course, it is, 40 years old, but it's a cool lens. But I think it was Ray was telling me about Sigma has a 28 to 45 millimeter f1.8 constant aperture, and it'll fit the L mount because it's Sigma, and they also make it for a plethora of other mounts. But I'll just tell you the truth, that's about the right focal length for my general photography. It covers everything that I normally shoot. I usually carry a 50, but I do get out the 28 pretty regular, and I don't deliberately pull a 35 out on full frame, but I shoot 35 on crop center a lot. And it being L mount, it would transition between both of my L mount cameras. That's about the perfect lens in my book. Let me see here if I can get that to show up. Let's see. Oh yeah, here we go. This guy. check this out. Oh, there it is, mounted on, oh, the Sigma camera. Their little, I think that's a video camera they make. So yeah, it's a little bigger, and the lens hood makes it look bigger. Because a lot of times I won't run the lens hood. I do run lens hoods some, but sometimes I don't. Just depends on what I'm doing. But the world's first f1.8 full frame mirrorless zoom lens. This is pretty impressive. And I'm assuming it's an Art Series lens because of the way they've got this is the brand or the lens. The Sigma 28, all these terms, is the world's first full frame zoom lens with a constant maximum aperture of f1.8. That's even faster than the Canon. I think it's an f2, but it does do a wider zoom range. I think it's 28 to 70 f2. But that thing is a beast. I think Tim Childers still has his. He had one for a while. And but yeah, that's a monster of a lens. So, let's see. But yeah, I think this is pretty epic. I like this lens. Now, it doesn't work for most people because it's like the middle of the zoom range. But for people like me who are in the city a lot, or just general photography like I do, this range works. It just does. And that f1.8 aperture gives you some nice low light power there. I mean, as it gets dark, I use aperture a lot of times to control light. I'm not really worrying on trying to blur the background on purpose. Like here, I'm not even sure what I'm apertured at right now, just to tell you the truth. The background's pretty well in focus because I'm shooting it. It looks like about 15 millimeters. So, it's about 22, something like that. Oh, you bought Tim's 28 to 70. Okay. So Phil has a 28 to 70 f2. All right. Get the DSLR dummy batteries for all the Nikon cameras, not the newer ones because they don't work with the ZF and Z8. By the way, the Zion is not a dummy battery. It don't need it. That battery lasts on its own without needing it. Dude, it's ludicrous how long Ray can shoot with one battery on the Z9. It's literally way over 1,000 photos. Way over. Like, it's all day just about it. It's crazy how long one of them batteries lasts. Just L and Sony for the Sigma lens. That lens is huge though, bigger than you usually like. Yeah, it is a pretty large lens, and I understand why, because the electronics to drive the focus is all built in, plus the electric motor that runs the aperture. Yeah, it does have the aperture ring, which is kind of cool. I do like that. Well, I can't get a solo picture. Camera compatibility, yeah, widgets. Let's go back up. Okay, but you can still see here it looks to. Yeah, that's the zoom range. This is the aperture. Okay. Well, they got a Z-mount one now. Yeah. Status has the circles. This lens can be used. Yeah. Oh, no, I see what they're doing now. It's showing lenses that will work on those cameras. They pulled a bait and switch on me. Never mind. Dadgummit. Yeah, it's a different page and they hid it from me. When you hit that camera compatibility button, it takes you completely out of this page. My bad. Yeah, that was a bait and switch. Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I see it here. L mount and Sony E mount. There you go. So, yeah. But yeah, that's a monster. Got quite a plethora of Sigma lenses for multiple camera systems. Yeah, I seen where you set all them 50s out and done that 50 comparison. That was pretty in depth, Randall. That was pretty in depth video. You're going to put a 100 to 400 on the Lumix S9. That's crop sensor, isn't it? That'd be like 600 racked out. That'll be about right. You'll be able to shoot bird photos with that. Yeah. Phil says I like big lenses though, so it gets a thumbs up from me. I mean, if it fills the role, yeah. My 24 to 90, which I'm probably also going to put on the market and liquidate because I just don't use it. It's a nice lens, does beautiful photos, but it never gets mounted because it's so heavy. It's just a heavy lens. I don't know what it weighs. I could dig it up, I'm sure. But, yeah, let me just transition back. I could dig up the specs on it, but that 24 to 90 Leica lens is just crazy heavy. And like I said, I never shoot with it. I think I might have taken it out 3 times since I've owned it. I just, if I do portrait photos, I'll get it out because it does beautiful portrait photos. And I get it and the 50 millimeter Summicron, and that's all the lenses I need. You can take gorgeous portraits with them. I've done a couple of times. I've got it out for that, and I got it out and did that video with it after I bought it. And it sits up on that shelf as a beautiful, very expensive decoration otherwise. Leica lenses is excellent. They do produce beautiful glass. You know, they're top tier quality. But, man, when you don't use it, why have it? You know, just turn it into something you will use. That's the way I'm thinking about it. 500 f5.6. Oh, they have one? Let's see. Mirrorless? Mount wide photo. Oh, they do have a 500 f5.6. Look at that. Let me just transition back over here. Check this out. It's nice and compact. I'm assuming OS is optical stabilization. DG, I don't know. DN, I don't know. Maybe you guys do. Let's just pull up the specs. Oh, it's got a super low dispersion. I'm assuming these are fluorite lenses. Fluorited low dispersion elements. There's a bunch of them. And there's a bunch of spec charts I don't know how to read, just to be fair. How heavy is it? Dimensions, weight. There you go. 43 ounces. Let me think about that. How much? Let's see here. 16 ounces in a pound. 32 is 2 pounds. 48 is 3 pounds. 3 pounds ain't bad for a 500 millimeter that you can handhold. That ain't too bad at all, just to tell you the truth. That's pretty neat. It's a big lens. Yeah, I'm curious to know how well it performs. Optical stabilization algorithm. They got a video talks about it. Yeah, it's nice and compact. It's about the size of the Phase Fresnel without what appears to be without having Fresnel elements. Huh. It's got me interested. Thermally stable composite. That's how they save money. They're actually. Oh, then you can get a teleconverter. But oh yeah, there. Well, let me scroll around. Equipped with an aperture ring. You know what my 500 Phase Fresnel doesn't have? An aperture ring. Most people don't think that's a big deal. To me, it's a big deal. I like having an aperture ring. The new Lumix S9 is full frame. Okay, I thought it was a crop sensor camera. Thanks for clarifying that. I know there was a big debacle about the whole launch event, but I didn't know much about it. I haven't really been researching cameras. Once I latched onto that ZF, I just quit looking. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I just quit looking at new cameras, and I've zeroed in on the one I want, and I just haven't been shopping. So I just don't know about all the newest stuff from the other manufacturers. Supposed to be sharp as a tack. It looks like it will be. Just to tell you the truth, they've come a long way in the 10 years since I had that 100 to 500. After seeing the lenses Hassan loaned me to shoot with, after seeing the images that those lenses produced, and he has the contemporary line. He doesn't have the Art Series lenses. The contemporary lenses, what I like about them is they're smaller. They're actually a lot smaller than the Art Series that's their counterparts. And they're still producing wonderful images. Randall says, I enjoy the Nikon 12 to 28 millimeter on my ZFC and Z30. I've never seen a Z30 at all in person. I've seen some pictures online because it doesn't have a viewfinder. It only has the back screen. Excuse me. When you talk a lot, you tend to run out of air and you have to yawn, apparently. There we go. Okay, it's a DX lens. The one I got on this camera is the 10 to 20 millimeter, and it's a variable aperture. But it's the little DX. It's an F-mount lens. You have to run the FTZ to use it. So I have the 10 to 20, the FTZ, and the Z50 mounted up right here. And I run it in manual focus, because it just annoys me because I don't know how to set the focus. Ray told me one time some of the settings to tinker with, and it helped. It helped a lot, but like it'll hunt focus, and the Z50, it's known for not having the world's greatest autofocus. So, it might find this bright thing here and focus on it, or this lamp and focus on it. You never know. Turn my head away for a second, it reaches over there and then stays on it. So I got it on manual focus. So whenever I want to focus on something up close, I'll hold this up, then I just grab the focus ring, focus in on it. Yep, there we go. And then you can see it. And then when I get done, there you go. Then when I get done, I just push it back to me. Up. And I just leave it on me now. And that's how I adjust focus. It's kind of Casey Neistat-ish where he racks the zoom manually for the push-ins. If you ever watched any of his video vlogs when he used to do them, whenever he'd want to put emphasis, he'd reach up and grab the zoom and rack the zoom in to punch in. It was pretty neat. Pretty visceral, but it worked. It got the point across. Brown says, I use everything I own. If I'm not using it, then it is gone. The 500 phase bezel Nikon, compare it with the Sigma. Wow, that says a lot. You use all of those Nikon, or all of those 50 mils? Dude, you had something like 40 or 50 millimeters. I thought I had a lot until you done that video. There were so many 50 mils. Got to turn in. Your lighting is on point. Good night, Dave and everyone. Good night, Phil. Thank you. I've been working on it. It was good to have Phil on the chat for a while. Let me switch back. There we go. All right. Having the top. This is the way it is. When it's a one-man show, you just got to do stuff. It's a DX bass angler. There you go. Get that Sigma. You don't need no PF. Hey! Keeping him waiting in the wings on the PF has been one of my tools to keep him in line, because you don't know how hard it is to get him to walk the line. He gets out of line pretty easy. Woo, excuse me. Oh, if y'all haven't done it, hit the like button. I'm trying to get some of them likes in. I'd like to have 10 before we finish the stream, but we probably won't get it because we're not averaging but about 6 people on stream. I have a little chart at the bottom that tells. I'm pretty sure this chart's not accurate too, because the count shows it started at 7:30, and I know that's wrong. I ain't been on the stream for no 3 hours. Let's see here. No, I didn't get on the stream till 10:15 from the looks of things. So, yeah, this is... Oh, so it starts here. Okay. Huh. I wonder why it's winding back to like 7:30 on the chart. That's kind of weird. 1 hour, yeah. Okay. That's not bad. These streams can easily run 2 hours, so don't think you have to stick around just because. All right. Oh, I have something else to talk about. Yeah. This came in. This is the ultraviolet light that Carmine Taverna talks about using to kill fungus in lenses. I have a lens right back there. It's a 55mm f1.8 Pentax. It's starting to get a little bit in the corner, so I'm going to put that on it and kill it. And I'll probably do a video at some point of dismantling that lens and cleaning the elements, try and get that fungus off of it. Thumbs up for me. Thank you. I cannot see that right now, I don't think. I don't think I have the technology with me to see that. Well, it says I have 8. Maybe that's right. I've got the chat pulled out so I can see the chat window, so it doesn't allow me to actually see everything. But having the chat right here is a lot more convenient. That is what everyone is talking about. It infrared kills fungus. Infrared and ultraviolet, apparently. Yeah. Let's see. Go back over to this. Okay. Question. Why 500 instead of, say, 1 to 400 or 2 to 600? 500 seems very limited for its purpose. Okay. For me, it's about using a prime lens. When you make a lens a zoom, they inherently get bigger. Now, some of the zooms I've seen, okay, and there's 2 reasons. One is the primes typically are smaller. They just are, usually. Sometimes they're not, but usually they are. I'm about having a more compact system than a lot of people. But, hey Jay, how you doing? Thank you for stopping in. Indianapolis in the house. That's 2 Indiana peeps that we've had on here. Not sure if Aaron's still lingering around or not. He was here earlier. He might have had to dip out. But he's from somewhere in Indiana. But yeah. But the second one is what Bass Angler just said. Almost all of the photos from when I had my 2 to 500 Nikkor, they were almost all shot at 500 millimeters. Like, so many of them were 500, and just a few of them were less than that. Because I'm shooting little birds usually, like when I would go to Hawaii or Costa Rica or somewhere, I'd photograph wildlife or surfers way out in the ocean, so I maxed it out. And I thought, I'm going to be shooting at 500 anyway. The few photos that I would needed less than 500, I just won't take the photo. Or I'll take, some kind of different artistic version of it, and just photograph the head of the bird if it's that close, So I just stuck with 500. I like the Phase Fresnel lens. I think I paid about $3,500 new for it, and it takes stunningly good photos. I've let several other people use it that are very capable photographers, and they've all give it high marks. It's a wonderful lens. Do you find that you may be too close for some shots that say 1:400 would give you? Now, you got to understand, bass anglers photographing raptors, typically bald eagles, they're most of the time a pretty good distance away. It would be probably pretty rare for him to want to shoot with less than 500 millimeters. And 500 is actually too short, he says. Yeah, he jokes about getting the 800 Phase Fresnel a lot, and I think it would do him well to have the 800 Phase Fresnel. It'd be a great lens for him. Let me see here. Let's see what this brings up. There, found the home. Had to look for their main website. Everybody else shows it up. Let's leap back over here for a minute. Look at here, bass angler. The weapon of choice. Full frame, has VR, which is image stabilization. 800 millimeters with VR is nice. I think that's stepper motors. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that's what that is. I think SWM was silent wave motors. Phase Fresnel. I don't know what SR is. Extra low dispersion. I don't know. E-Series means that it's the same thing as mine. Has electronic aperture. Internal focus. I don't know what. Oh, that's manual auto. What's SIC? I don't know. Does it have the integrated teleconverter? Let's see. Nikon's S-Line features. Oh, and this is a Z-mount lens too, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it's Z-mount. Fluorine coated elements. They give you some quartering away shots of it. Oh, these are for the tripod foot. From the looks of things. I thought it might have a internal filter tray. That's what I was looking at. Or the built-in ND filter. Isn't that what it is? No, it's a built-in teleconverter. Does it have the built-in teleconverter? That's what I'm looking for. Let's see. Lens construction, one SR element, whatever that means. Special kind of element of some sort. Don't know. Maybe you guys do. Roy Bixby's in the house. Look at that. If I didn't already have the 180 to 600, then I'd get the 600 Phase Fresnel. Wow, yeah. There you go. Woohoo! Never thought a fixed lens would be ideal for bird. Learn something new. Slip-in filters. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, look, it has an MTF chart. And look, it's basically perfect. Yeah, whatever this SR element is, it's back in here. Deep down inside. Phase Fresnel elements. You got one there. Looks like you got, that might be one there. I may be seeing things. My Phase Fresnel's it's basically identical to this. If I had to guess, it's just a little less magnification. Oh, they've moved the center of gravity. Autofocus this and that. The VR function, this and that. Oh, it's got 5 stops of VR in the lens. Now, you think about that. How much camera shape will 5 stops of VR help with? If you're hand holding this thing and you can hand hold it at 1/125th of a second to get some good light in the early morning, that'd be nice. Of course, you're going to have motion blur in your subject, so you have to deal with that. With the attachment of teleconverters, there we go. There's what we're dealing with. So you have to buy the external teleconverters. It don't have them built in. It should have them built into the lens at this point. A lens of that size, I think, like, they do build one that's got some internal teleconverters, I'm pretty sure. It was either them or Canon made one. Oh, there you go. Here's some data if I'll just check the chat. Roy says the 400 and 600 TC are not phase Fresnel, but they do have the internal teleconverters. So we go up here. And then what if we just pick teleconverters? What happens? Oh, it just zooms down to them. Oh, look, there's your DX50 to 250. Wow, that's a pretty cool lens. That would cover, what was that? What would that be? 27 to like 200? That's a pretty nice general purpose range. Oh, here we go. Yeah, these with the TC in them. There they are. This monster. Yeah. What does he say? But the 400 and 600 TC are bloody heavy. Let's go down to the specs and just see. That's construction, dimensions, weight. Holy smoke, Batman, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Dadgummit. 3,200 grams. Basically 3,300. One more coat of paint and it'd be 3,300. Man, that thing's a monster. I wish they had it, showed it mounted on a camera for reference. But that's a Z mount, so the camera, man, that thing's enormous. The lens hood probably comes out to here. Yeah, that's a monster of a lens. They don't tell you how much it costs. I bet I can find out. Dollar says that B&H has them for sale. Search. Nikon USA, Petapixels review, B&H photo. Look at that. Here it comes. Yeah, baby, 15.5. Oh, you're going to take out a second mortgage on your house? Man, that's a lot of money. Let's see. Oh, they've got a bunch more pictures. Let's see what they got. Yeah, there's you a photo of. Look at that. That thing's a monster. I guess that's a Z8 mounted on it. Wow. That's a beast. Woo. Let's see. 28 to 400. Decent size bass and weight. Oh. The 28 to 400 is probably the ideal travel lens, but that much of a zoom range is probably very compromised. Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I have learned that I don't need a lot of long telephoto. Anything past about 100 millimeters is completely wasted on my travel photography. I just don't have a need when I'm doing a trip. Unless I'm going to deliberately photograph wildlife, and then in that case, I'm going to take a camera specifically engineered for that. Like, that's over there. I got the Think Tank Photo Retrospective 15L backpack camera bag, and it's about the size of a normal backpack, and I can put the Z50 with the FTZ and the 500 PF on it, mount that together, flip the lens hood around backwards, and it'll fit in that pack assembled. That the pack's only, this tall. I put it on, I can walk it on the plane. That's the reason I like it. So if I travel to Like I've been to Costa Rica with it a couple times, and if you're going somewhere like that and you want to take a nice birding kit, let's just go back to this. Let's see here. Yeah. Let's just zoom in on this card here. There. That photo was taken in the on the grounds of a resort I was staying in La Fortuna, Costa Rica. Of this, it's a caracara, I think, or something like that. I don't remember. It's like the cousin to a toucan, and it was eating those berries, and it was up in a tree about 20, 25 feet above me. And I just literally, I had the Z50 with the 500 phase Fresnel, and I just started snapping photos of it eating those berries. But, you know, you can't take that photo. You probably could with that, you know, because this was daytime. It wasn't early morning when these kind of animals are usually out. Oh, well, there we go. There we go. And, but that was something I got with the Z50 and the 500. And that's the reason I like those. But if I'm not going to do that, if I'm just going like when we went on our hiking trip in England, I want a smaller lens that doesn't really have as much zoom, because I end up wanting to take, most of the photos are 50 mil. And it's, you know, because I'm taking memories, if that makes sense. I have learned that about me over the years. You know, it just works. Gotta run. Early morning. Have a good one. Good night, Bass Angler. Thank you for dropping in. Let me see. Where's my mouse? Let's see here. Everybody's done. Everybody told Bass Angler good night. Okay. And let's see. But yeah, that's why I don't carry one of those general purpose covers everything zooms anymore. I used to have the 18 to 200 for my D7000. And that little kit was a pretty nice kit. It took beautiful photos. I had the Gen 2, and it had a lot better image quality in VR than the Gen 1. The one with the gold VR instead of the red. That's how you could tell one generation from the next. When they did the update, they changed the color of that logo. And it took stunningly good photos. I like that a lot, you know. And on the D7000, it being a crop sensor camera, that gave me like 27 to 300. That's a pretty long range. But I got to noticing I never really shot anything racked all the way out. I just didn't. And for me, it's just kind of a waste. So yeah, everybody has to kind of figure out what they actually use. Because what I wind up seeing is you see people giving up on photography because they think they need to take all their gear all the time, and it becomes a burden. And they just give up on having to take the stuff because it's just too heavy, or it's just too much headache trying to figure out which lens they need, because they've got, you know, the 14 to 24 and the 24 to 70 and the 70 to 200 and then the 500 millimeter phase Fresnel. So they've got super telephoto, and, you know, and they're out trying to do landscape. So they got the 14 to 24 on, and then they want to take a picture of their wife in front of a road sign that's iconic to the area. So now they got to switch lenses, and when at the end of the day, they could have probably took the 24 to 70 and covered all their bases and had good photos of pretty much everything they wanted. You know, it winds up to me being, switch back off of this. That lens is a monster though. But yeah, it winds up to me being more like, oh, B&H wants to track me. Just now saw that too. But it winds up, you just got to decide for yourself what your own pain threshold is. Because it does. ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. I learned that. That's why my kit gets a lot smaller now when I travel. I just don't need the kit. Lumix is releasing an 18 to 40 in August, I think, for the S9. Very compact and should be interesting. That's a pretty interesting focal range. That would work really well if it's going to be a Lumix. If it's a full frame lens, I'm interested. I wonder if it's going to be variable aperture. If it's a constant aperture, if it's like an f2.8, I mean, yeah, it's not super fast, but that's fast enough. Because that translates to like 27 to 60 on the crop center cameras. And then you get, 18 to 40 on the full frame machines. That's a pretty nice range. I like that idea. Randall says, why is it that crop center cameras have the 16 to 50 or 16 to 50 or 18 to 55 a lot of times with kit lenses? I interjected that, by the way. And on full frame are 14 to 24, 15, or 16 to 35. Why not 16 to 50 on the full frame? And that's a really good question. I think it has more to do with marketing because, yes, 2 millimeters makes a pretty big difference from 16 to 14 to where if it was 2 millimeters from 90 to 88, you wouldn't notice it. But on wide, I think they're just making it a little wider so that they can get a little more marketing and a better selling point. I really think that's all it is. It's not really anything to do with the specifics. I think it has more to do with getting the marketing and the selling of the cameras. It's more about selling cameras is what I think. Roy says, crop sensors can hide some of the weaknesses of a large zoom range. Yeah, and the beautiful thing about a crop sensor with a full frame lens on it, for instance, this lens, these older lenses typically have issues in the edges and especially the corners. But with a crop sensor camera, it's cutting the center right out of the middle of the image circle that this lens is producing. So you're basically getting the best of all of the functions of the lens without most of the artifacting that normally lingers around the periphery. So you get weird, a lot of times weird bokeh on the edges and things. By cutting the center out, you eliminate a lot of that. So yeah, shooting full frame lenses, especially vintage ones on crop sensor cameras, it's kind of the best of both worlds. I have seen a lot of YouTubers, for lack of a better term, in the past say that full frame lenses don't work as well on crop sensor cameras, and that's all bogus. The sensor is the same exact device. It's just less of it. You understand, the full frame sensor is just a larger patch of those pixels than the crop sensor, which is just a smaller patch of those pixels. So your crop sensor only sees less of them. It's like 60%, I think. I don't remember for the exact number, but you go from a 16 by 24 sensor to a 24 by 36 sensor, and so you take away that much of the sensor. But all of that aside, they see the same. It's just you're seeing the good part of the lens. We all know the center of the lenses produce the best image. So if you take a picture with someone pushed off to the edge, you're going to get distortion a lot of times, and you're going to get chromatic aberrations are going to be worse on the edges. Yeah, crop sensor just eliminates most of that by cutting the good section out of the middle. I always thought that's a good point. Panasonic has a 20 to 60 for the kit lens with the S5 II and the S6 IIX, plus an extra lens, 50 and an 85. Wow. So that's the kit. That's pretty slick. Hassan has the 20 to 60. It's an awesome lens, punches above its kit lens status. Now, that's something I have noticed with a couple of brands now. Just to tell you the truth, the 18 to 55 kit lens that comes with the little DX sensor cameras, that thing takes stunningly good photos. To be such a cheap little crappy plastic lens, that thing is such a wonderful image output lens. It does. It takes stunningly good photos. They're so good, people don't realize how good the images are when they buy those D3500s and D5600s, those little mid-range DSLRs that everybody used to buy that came with that 18 to 55. They didn't realize how good the image output they were getting from those cameras. Most people just assume that's the kind of lens or that's the image that you should be getting, which it kind of is. But they don't understand that there are bunches of cameras and lenses out there that produce much poorer results out of the box. And it's just, it's hard to understand how good that lens actually is. And me and Bass Angler and Aaron were talking earlier tonight, that 24 to 70 f4 Z-mount lens, I think it's an S series. That lens produces stunningly good results too. Let's see, something just happened. All right, let me get back over on the Nikon stuff. Oh, no, get rid of that. I'm not interested in your B&H stuff. Let's see. Oh, Lumix. What was it? 18 to 40? Oh, that ain't for sale yet. That's coming out in August. 20 to 60 is the one that's here. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. It's only $500 too. Yeah, I can see how they classify it as a kit lens because it's f3.5 to f5.6, which is essentially f4 to 5.6 because that's a third of a stop faster than f4. But yeah, this is a nice lens. What is it? No. Let's see. Oh. Nice. Let's see. YouTube keeps interrupting this live stream with commercials. Welcome to YouTube. Sorry about that. Let's see. I'll have to look into the settings to see if I can fix that. Maybe I can stop it. I know I have commercials enabled for when it becomes a video. I didn't know it does it during the stream too. Panasonic at Best Buy will allow you to pick either the 50 or the 85 f1.8 primes. Nice. Crop sensors only change the field of view. The depth of field, etc., doesn't change. A 50 millimeter crop body is not equivalent to full frame 85. Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah, they don't realize that. Yeah, you don't get more reach. You really don't. You're just sampling the center of the image is all you're doing. And but what people will do is they'll dope the result by moving physically either closer or further from the subject until they fill the frame the same as the full frame equivalent, and then that does change depth of field and things but it still ain't the same. Leica's tried to market that the Q series, and they have a 28 millimeter f1.7 lens and some kind of crazy megapixel sensor on the new one, like 50 or 60 or something. And what they're saying is they got automatic crop mode that like gives you 90 millimeter equivalent field of view. No, it doesn't. Or it gives you 90 millimeter field of view, but it doesn't give you 90 millimeter equivalency. It's not the same. You put the 90 mil on, it's a different animal. But yeah. Let's see. All right. Roy says variable aperture lenses are a nightmare in the studio. Constantly adjusting the lighting to match. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a problem. If I was shooting zooms in the studio, that would be a headache. If I had a studio, if I had open floor space, I would probably shoot primes and I'd just move the camera to get the composition, because then you can maintain, A, you got one aperture, and B, you get to control everything about the image, you know. And by staging your strobes up close to the subject, then your strobe, if your light on the subject doesn't change. Yeah, that's the way I would do it if it were me. I can see the convenience of a zoom lens in the studio, but I would probably shoot primes. Then again, I like prime lenses. Randall says the Q3 gets less megapixels as you go from 28 to 35 all the way out to 90. Yeah, and all it is cropping in the image is what it's doing. So yeah, you're losing megapixels as you go. Now I have found a possibly great compact full frame camera to go with my compact Sigmas. Good zooms with a fixed aperture. That's what Roy likes. And that's what most people use. Most pros they'll get the Holy Trinity because it works. You know, it just works. The Leica M11, the SL3, and the Q3 all have the 60 megapixel sensor. Okay. I knew that the M11 had the new 60 megapixel. I wasn't sure about the Qs. I knew the Q2 had like a 45. I think it's the same one out of my SL2. And then the standard Q was a 24 megapixel camera, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I did cover all the subjects tonight. Yes. All right. I got your email, Randall. See it on my phone here. So we'll talk. Tamron 35 to 150, F2 to F2.8. Yeah. I'm personally not super big on Tamron glass. I just never have, I don't know. Aaron always had real good luck with it on his F-mount lenses. He had a bunch of them, and he takes wonderful photos with it. I've just been either vintage lenses, and here lately I have been willing to experiment a little bit with Sigma. And I haven't really messed with Tamron, like I said, other than Aaron stuff. Just never done it, you know. Yeah. I got so... Oh, I see the note now. Interesting. That they put a commercial to sell you not to see commercials. That's kind of smart on their part. Figures. All right. It's 10 till 12 here. So I'm about to have to sign off. But you guys have provided me with a wonderful stream tonight. If y'all hit the like button, if you haven't done it, do it for me right quick. I'd appreciate that. I think we've gotten the 10 likes I was looking for, so I'm happy with that. Real happy. The fact that you guys all hung around as long as you did tonight on stream has made my day. I got to get up fairly early, so I really need to log off and go get into bed and get some sleep. But I'm going out to collect footage for a video tomorrow. Plus, I've got a bunch of stuff to do on a radio in the shop. I've got to do my little live stream on the Ham Radio Today channel about this in the morning. Gonna run the Otter. I might do a park activation if there's any time left, but it's starting to look like there's not going to be. I may end up doing that on the weekend. Who knows? But oh. All right. We'll see you soon, Randall and Roy and everybody else that's here that hasn't bothered to post. Laters, everybody. Yeah. Well, do this, but I appreciate you guys seriously. It really matters. It means a lot to me that you guys all log in and hang out and chat with me and all that. It does. It means more than you realize. So until next time, I'm going to say that this is David, the Georgia photographer, and I'm going to tell you to get your camera out and go take a picture with it. And I'm going to let this lobby linger for a little while. So y'all have fun.